interception problems. He's had fumbling problems. One of the greatest players in NFL history, the Hall of Famer, was on First Take yesterday and essentially said, when the Eagles pared it down and said, we're going with Wentz over Foles, Brett Favre says they were going in the wrong direction when they made that choice.
I actually thought that they should have kept Nick Foles rather than Carson Wentz, just based off of production and where they got to. You know, they won a Super Bowl with Foles, and that was a little bit surprising. But they're obviously banking on his upside. How many more years do you let it linger before you stick with him or you cut bait? That's a question they only can answer.
Indeed. Now, just a reminder, Favre did play forever, and when you play forever, all of your stats, good and bad, go up. From 1991 to 2010, he threw 336 interceptions. Nobody else in the NFL has ever thrown 300. So I get it. He's a gunslinger. That's what partly made him you mentioned a legend. But what do you guys feel about him weighing in on essentially saying that they made the wrong call? The guy that won their one and only Super Bowl in franchise history is the guy they should have kept.
Did Brett Favre... Because I got to call him Brett Favre when he starts.
What are you, Paul Tagliabue, bro? What are you doing with this? This is the NFL draft?
Did he have copper fit over his head or something like that? Like, what the hell is going on with Brett Favre, man? Hey, listen, I hate when my legends, my icons just, oh, my God. That's the worst take I ever heard. Like, when has Nick Foles ever been an MVP candidate? Never. He went down to the Rams. He went to the Rams with Jeff Fisher. They cut him as soon as they could. He lost his job to Minshew Mania, a man that wears cutoff jeans and moose knuckle. Like, what the hell are we talking about? Are you kidding me? Like, every time he's had an opportunity to step up and be the guy, he's shown us that he's not the guy, right? Like, he's done it, I said before, like when we were laughing about, like, he's like red wine. He's great in moderation. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a guy that you just want to have bits and splashes of. What is he doing in Chicago? Nothing. Like, you have to understand. What's going on in Philadelphia now is that now the credit card bill is due, Jay Will, right? They've been overspending. Next year, they're reportedly $64 million over the cap. They got a team that has gotten old. They had their window came, they won the Super Bowl, it closed. Now they got to tear it all down. Just like they had to do in Seattle when they had to get rid of the Legion of Boom and go through Russell Wilson. They have to do a restart. It's not Wentz. Do you see he's under duress every single play? He's running for his life. He has the worst offensive line, which used to be a strength. Jason Peters is great. He's a Hall of Famer. He's over the hill. He's a guy that they brought in to play guard, and he said, you know what, I need some more cheese on my taco if you want me to slide out and play this left tackle, bro. And then he's not playing left tackle for a reason. So he's out there doing more with less, and he's out there fighting for his life. But you can't compare the talent of Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. It's not even close.
I agree with you. I think it's a convenient take. But just here's what drives Philadelphia fans crazy. You ready? Yeah. Even though it is a convenient take, because as a fan, I don't know the intricacies of the game as well as you do. I may be informed with my team's salary cap. I may know that my O-line is decimated. I may be seeing him run for his life. But at the same time, just watching the way Nick Foles took us to a Super Bowl and how he won it, right? That's Philadelphia. It's blue collar. It's gritty. Really I've never been a superstar. I've always had to work my way, climb, grind up the ladder, and to see the way it ended with Nick Foles, it's easy to think long-term that, hey, he could have been the guy that really epitomizes who we are as people, right? It's never been the glitz or the glam. We're never L.A. It's never Hollywood. But when you dig deep, it's actually not that easy. It's not that convenient.
Okay, now
he is Brad Johnson. He's Trent Dilfer. He was just holding on to the damn steering wheel, man. He wasn't.
He drove it though, and you said drink that wine in moderation. But look, I drink wine every night, Bart. I drink it every night. So look, when you drink that kind of wine and you see where that wine got you, you like the way that wine tastes.
But when you break it down, you go through it with a fine tooth comb. Why were they able to be such a dominant team? Why were they able to go through that for that run? It's because Carson Wentz was cheap, and they were able to go out and get all these luxury pieces. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when you strip all the luxury pieces down, now you get to see who you really are. Nick Foles was there. Listen, it's like the whole Batman thing. Like, you know, you either die the hero or you stay around long enough to become the villain. And I think that Philadelphia is trying to make Carson Wentz the villain. But Nick Foles died the hero, so he got out of town, and then when it all falls apart, and Bill Belichick's up there, he might die the villain as well. Tom Brady got the hell out of town, he gets to leave and die the hero.
It's a great analogy. If you can go back, would you pay Carson Wentz some money again?
Yes, you have to. Like, this guy
You would
was
pay him $100 million?
He was an MVP candidate. And really, when you look at that contract now, it's really a discount. Because look at what Dak Prescott's going to get just next year.
Well, that could be different, though, once we get back into what the cap can change due to fluctuation with fans not being in stands and things like that.
Well, but at the end of the day, like Dak Prescott, somebody's going to get paid $40 million. Lamar Jackson's going to get paid $40 million. Carson Wentz is not nearly, I don't know what his cap number is, but he's got to be in the 30s. That's a discount, right? That's a $10 million a year difference. And you got him young. He's still young. He should be able to play for another 15 years. Now, I know he's always hurt. I know he plays reckless at times, but he's going to be around for your rebuild. So you have to say, you know what?
Is he, though? Is he going to be around? I'm starting to question that.
Okay, if not
all the injuries that he's had.
Yeah, if not
the
Carson
conversation
Wentz,
part. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, if not Carson Wentz, then who?
That's fair. I mean, but you have to go on the market. But it's almost by default. If not Carson Wentz, then who?
Jalen Hurts. Okay.
I didn't say Jalen Hurts, but I'm saying it was a conversation.
No, it came in my ear. It came in my ear. I got the peanut gallery talking in my ear. They trying to give me answers.
Okay, here's two things we need to mention about Wentz before we move on to some other quarterbacks and we figure out whether they got it wrong or right with our great NFL insider, Jeremy Fowler, on the way here in a couple minutes to talk Steelers and Cowboys. Hang tight for that. Number one, everybody truly believes that Carson Wentz, when he got injured in the Super Bowl season, he got injured again in a game against the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
He had essentially played the bulk of the season, and that's the reason the Eagles got the number one seed in the playoffs, allowing Foles to come in and win. So if you're going to pay a guy, you essentially say, look, yes, Foles got us over the top, but we wouldn't even be in this position if it wasn't for Carson Wentz. So you have to think about him as a franchise signal caller from that standpoint. Last thing I would say, this is why Favre said what he said. I love the numbers. The Eagles' record since winning the Super Bowl, 12-11-1. Since they got rid of Nick Foles and said, we're going to Wentz, they are 12-11-1. And that is not where they expected to be. So if that is one number, that could back up what Favre is saying. So, yes, Bart is saying that's the worst take he's heard. It's not first take, yours take. It's first take, worst take.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason Fitz, if you're out there, start branding that one. Let's go to a couple of different quarterbacks that also have their fan bases vexed. And again, Jeremy Fowler on the way. This one's easy. We're going to rip through three, but let's get through this one because this one's obvious, I would imagine, but we got to address it. Bears essentially got it wrong with Trubisky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
This one's a little more complicated because this is a guy that has signed an $84 million contract and a $66 million contract.
Is it all guaranteed? Is it all guaranteed?
It is all guaranteed. The first all-guaranteed contract in NFL history. Of course, we're talking Kirk Cousins. Mistake or not?
Absolutely. I mean, they're going to be they're going to be a top 5 lottery team potentially. Thank God he didn't come to the Jets, man, because could you imagine carrying that contract and waiting for a quarterback and trying to get him out of town? But I understood what they had to do. This year they had to give him an extension because they needed some salary cap relief. And I know it's not the sexy take, why did they pay him? They paid him because they needed salary cap relief, and you can